All right, welcome everyone. It's great to see you guys joining. And I just want to welcome you to this month's YFP 202 webcast, Influence with Education. You know, Shaklee leaders like my family learned long ago, and like Nancy and Cheryl, who's with us, that you'll attract way more prospects if you're offering to teach people something of value than by simply trying to sell them on your product or on the Shaklee opportunity. Because when you sell, you tend to create resistance, but when you educate, you build rapport and trust. And trust and rapport equals influence, or at least it's a big part of it. So becoming a person of influence improves your ability to get people to look at what you're offering and, well, to take action when they may not otherwise do so. It causes change. You can influence people to change. So the key to winning with educational marketing, or education-based marketing, some people also say, is learning how to leverage the best educational tools and resources available for Shaklee ambassadors. And well, we feel we have some of those. So in this special YFP 202 training webcast, you're going to discover how top leaders like Nancy and Cheryl are finding, enrolling, and retaining clients using e-newsletters, their wellness center, some other educational tools. And if we haven't met, my name is Jody Steig, but you could call me Coach Jody. And I'm a tech and marketing advisor to Shaklee ambassadors, a dad, outdoor lover, and former business leader myself, but I really still consider myself a Shaklee kid. I was actually 8 years old when my parents started their Shaklee business way back there in 1981. And I grew up in Shaklee, so I understand the challenges that you face as a distributor. I've toured Shaklee HQ and the Dr. Shaklee Innovation Center. I've interviewed and hired their top scientists to work with us. Their original or previous chief science officer, Dr. Daggy, works with us. And I've now spent the last 20 years creating educational marketing tools and resources to help business leaders like you grow. In fact, I started by flipping the little slides for mom and dad way back in the day. So in this special webcast, you're going to learn why online educational tools are becoming so important for success, how to actually influence people with education to grow your business for long-term stability so that you don't have to rely on sort of traditional selling tactics, and how leaders are using YFP to educate and teach to grow their business. I'm also going to throw in a little sneak peek at what's coming in 7.0 and, well, how it can help your business. So super big thanks and acknowledgement to our leaders who are with us. You can see Nancy Fickus and Cheryl Turner here ready to share some powerful tidbits. I'm so appreciative of them to give us their time. And I'll start by introducing Nancy. She's been in Shaklee for over 30 years and built her dream eco home with it. And she's also done this through educating her customers, prospects, and business builders. And then Master Coordinator Cheryl and Marty Turner. We can't leave out Marty because he was just in the back setting up the tech work for her. So even though she's the spokesperson here tonight, Marty's a big part of this. So, and I'm excited to share that they've grown from like 125,000 OV, which stands for organizational volume if you're new to this business, to almost 300 or a little over 300,000 in 2 years. And which is, you know, amazing. Focuses on giving great customer service. And she does credit a wee bit to YFP and our educational resources. So I can't thank her enough for doing that. Super important. So
the first question that we have lined up for you are, what were you struggling with before you started using YFP? And kind of like just set the pace for what it looked like then, and then what it has turned into now that you've started using YFP. Yeah.
Let's start with Nancy.
Sure.
Okay. Well, what I was struggling with was we are the CEOs of our own business. That can start with a mere $50. But then where do we go from there? How do we balance all the balls? There's CEOs have many people that work under them to do the tasks that they are specifically good at. And we're not necessarily good at everything we need to do to grow our business. And I share that, you know, even as a computer scientist myself, I was struggling with how do I use all of the Facebook and sending out newsletters and designing the newsletter and making educational content available and we literally tried, as my husband's a software engineer, to build what Coach Jody has built. And it was just way too difficult to try to maintain it. And when I learned that YFP existed with these wonderful websites for capturing new people, finding people, educating people, and retaining them, which is the most important piece. And I think those were and of course that spells fear, which is what most people fear when they start a business, is how do I do all this when I'm just poking my foot in the door?
Was there anything else that you wanted to add to that?
It's just been an amazing ride that even a brand new person for $14.99, I think it is, for 25 contacts can get started. So I make that all part of their startup. If they're becoming an ambassador, they get their free PWS from Shaklee, and I immediately get them introduced to YFP and why it's valuable for them to have their own hub site through YFP. They can use mine until they kind of get their feet on the ground, but all the advantages of having a place to directly send someone to explore the opportunity, to explore wellness, and whether I step them through it or they just simply want the website, they can walk through it. It's designed beautifully to be able to do that all on their own. So I'm just very impressed with what the YFP team has done with its leadership of Coach Jody.
You guys are very kind. I'm just going to show off some folks out there may not know what we mean by hub site. So if it's okay, I'm just going to show off. Here's Nancy's site. And you'll see that Nancy has customized her site, which is great. So when you land here, you actually know, oh, I remember her, right? That's the girl I saw at the park or whatever. So good for you. And this is what Nancy was talking about with regards to explore opportunity, explore wellness. I think here is where you were talking about, see this link? This looks like a link you made, Nancy,
Yes.
A natural path to wellness.
That's a website that my husband and I designed that has some specific information for the medical professionals that we work with.
Okay, got it. That's, by the way, the one link we were talking about earlier that you could edit to be the shop if you wanted. Take the other shop down and use that. But just sort of as a side note there. So folks, what a hub site is it's really a center. Well, it's your nerve center. So it connects to your social spaces. So you can see down at the bottom, we know how to connect socially and follow Nancy. It also allows us to get valuable content. We can download her ebook called What Your Doctor Wasn't Taught in Med School about nutrition that you need to know, which really is all about educating people on things like protein and B-complex and vitamin C and things like that. And just the concept, because it does take a shift in mentality, doesn't it? Your paradigm has to shift to think of supplementation and nutrition, right? Because that's not really what you grew up learning. It's mainly the doctors are going to rescue you, whatnot. So that's what a hub site is. We'll show a little bit more about some of the new changes that we have coming up. But maybe if we could, let's ask Cheryl the same question, Sam. What were your hurdles? Because obviously you didn't have that many hurdles because you were still rocking. You were a master coordinator before you met us. So why would a master who's already kicking butt utilize us? Let's find that out, Cheryl.
Well, because I am the polar opposite of Nancy. I don't know anything about computers. I can type, I can turn it on and off. I had tried snail mail newsletters. I know what I do with mine when I get snail mail newsletters or even beautiful catalogs from some stores. They go straight in the recycle bin. I don't even look at them. I'd much rather look at something online that I can click. And I did try other electronic newsletters, and half of the time the links didn't work. They didn't have the wealth of knowledge that you guys have. And when I tried your newsletter, I just fell in love with the whole system. I just said, hey, I'm all in. What do I need to do? And I still haven't set up my hub. How many years have I been using it?
Well, let's be clear. It's set up. It's just not customized. We could say that.
Right. I have a hub, but it's not customized because I am not. Marty's more of the computer person than I am, but he made the mistake of telling me that I can't break it. So I'm not afraid to go in and try different things. And what I use it for is more, Marty and I do have a massive organization. And I have a lot of leaders that needed information and education. And I have found YFP to be the best way for me to share information with them. And we do a live Zoom every Monday night, and then we just put that up on YouTube. And I had to learn how to do that, how to upload it to YouTube. So I did not come in with all of this wealth of knowledge. I'm in my 70s, and when the computers first came out, I got them for my children. I thought that was very entertaining, and I thought that was a good idea. And when we talk to people about the business, we talk to them about the financial security. 11 years ago, I was given 6 months to live, and I cannot say, thank you, Jesus, Shaklee healed me. Kathy told me I couldn't say that. And so I don't, but I told my doctor that I had good care. I was at a branch of the Mayo here in Minneapolis at the U of M, and I said I had a lot of prayer and powerful nutrition. The doctor told me the nutrition helped the prayer and care do their job. And so Marty and I have lived Shaklee for 18 years now. We're going on our 19th year, and this has been a very effective tool for me. I do understand tools. And I owned a travel agency for 25 years, and we had computers there, but we were more like detectives trying to find the best price from here to there. So I'm in a whole new learning curve with you guys, but I love what you do, and I'm glad you're so good at it because it makes me look better.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, Cheryl, you do the right thing, and that is you promote it and make it available to your people, and you just sort of get out of the way. And I mean, that's really the master's job, isn't it? Is like connect people to the right resources and then stand back and let them do what they need to do. So I appreciate that. For those of you that want to take your hub site to the next level where you're creating your own content, yeah, we do actually integrate it with a WordPress blog that we manage for you so that you don't need to worry about all the security. But I want to make sure that that we didn't create this webcast as sort of like a self-congratulatory, we're wonderful thing, even though I so appreciate the kind words you're saying. I really want to make sure that you guys are understanding that the game has changed in network marketing in the last really like 15 years. 2007, things changed a lot, right? When social came along, the newspaper ads weren't what they used to be, because that's what my family did. We were all about newspaper ads, and I built, that's how I built my directorship, was by running newspaper ads in San Diego. So a lot of that has changed. Compliance, oh my God, in the last 2 years, who hasn't got an email from legal at this point? I mean, it's like, I didn't even know there was legal until all of a sudden 2020. So that has changed. So like what you can say is totally changed. And maybe that's one thing I would ask. We'll start with Nancy. Have any of your people had issues with content? Because new people tend to want to go out and spray I love Shaklee everywhere, right? Right. And that's another one of the first things I tell them is use the content that is provided by YFP and share that. Don't try to create your own content because most likely you will get that email from Shaklee Legal that says, you can't say this or that. It's not a big deal. You're not going to be in Shaklee jail. Yeah, exactly. All you have to do is take the post down. I have had an email from legal when I used a word I should not have used to describe Nutriferon. Even though it's factual, it still is not a word you can use online. Yeah. So all I needed to do was go into that post and edit that word out of there, and all was fine. So YFP helps us be compliant and with phenomenal content that we can just share then on our personal spaces as well. Yeah, I appreciate that. And how about you, Cheryl? Have you had any issues with that in your organization?
More in my organization than me. I only had one. And while I was on the phone with Yesenia, I deleted the post. She goes, oh, you didn't have to delete it. Just take the word out. I said, Yesenia, it's from 3 years ago. Nobody's going to delete it anyway. But, but they had to be compliant, and they have AIs that go through. So one thing I did learn, though, if there's a word I want to use and they don't want me to, I'll turn an I upside down, make it an exclamation point or something. And the AI can't find it. Yeah. So that's something you can do. Yes. Good tip. You're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's important to know that even if you just say something about broccoli fixes something, but Shaklee's mentioned somewhere else on your feed, the broccoli thing's got to go. So if you don't want to get in legal issues, just don't mention Shaklee anywhere on your anonymous, like public spaces. That's for your group, for your your meetings, but don't talk about Shaklee on your public spaces. So like your personal profile, your business page, unless you want to have to be monitored by them and say things only in the way they want you to say it. And of course you want more freedom than that. So great tip on that. And by the way, I realized we didn't really introduce Coach Samantha, and she deserves introduction because Coach Sam has been working with us for several years, and she's really our social media specialist. So a lot of these questions I ask her, and I think that's one of the things. Sam, what should we ask our leaders here with regards to maybe social in our list of questions that we had? Where do you want to take this next?
How are you using social to get people onto your wellness newsletters or to start downloading?
Are you using social?
Yeah, different lead captures.
You guys could explain that better than me. You do a lot for me on social media. and you are posting things that make me look like I know what I'm doing. And people ask me questions and then I can direct them. And you guys don't realize how much I depend on your system. I love it.
Well, we love being your minions. So we're okay with that,
elves.
right?
Elves.
Yeah, our elves. That's right. Everybody needs to have some little helpers there. So how about you, Nancy?
Well, I totally enjoy being able to, and YFP makes it simple. And I hate to speak negatively about my wonderful love for Shaklee, but they do have a tools library, but there's no button there to just push it, click, and it automatically goes to Facebook. You have to download it. You have to save it on your desktop. You have to then know how to copy it into your Facebook. Then you have to put the content in. I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
I want to focus my time on meeting new people, educating them and my current members, especially about the loyalty rewards program, which is so awesome. My goal is to get 100% of my members using loyalty. I'm up there in the very high 80s, but using that social media, those fabulous posts to be able to then say, hey, if you have an interest, join my wellness community and you'll learn some great information. That's authentic. That's real. That's not from Dr. Google.
A really great share. I love that both of your answers kind of went back to the fact that YFP has really simplified your overall strategy. Before it sounded like you might have been an expert in software, but it was time consuming or you had no idea, and it simplified it. So it's nice to see that both spectrums of where you fall in the tech world can benefit from using the system, and that it's overall just simplified what you're doing and giving you time to do the things that matter, which is actually connect with people. So I really love both of your responses.
One thing maybe we should ask is as well, we talked about, your acronym of FEAR. So we, find, enroll, retain. Nancy, where are you focusing? Are you more in the find mode, or are you more trying to retain what you've already got because you've built a nice, large business?
I mean, it's a balance of all. Finding new people, continuing to educate them through your wonderful Wednesday emails, and then through those as well, retaining. Because I'm sure Cheryl is in the same situation as I am. When I first started, maybe I had 50 people. Well, I could reach out to those 50 people in a month. But when you start getting into the hundreds and the thousands of people, you can't possibly keep track of reaching out to that many people. You need an automated tool that touches them every Wednesday. That email goes out, and whether they opened it, which have a great open rate, it's 33%, Sam told me. I love the fact that we can create our own campaigns as well. And I make sure my team understands that are also using YFP, that when the free shipping button gets turned on, that doesn't mean every one of your members sees it. Because if they've unsubscribed from Shaklee's emails, they will never know there's free shipping. Right. So I create my own campaign. I send it out about every depending on how long the free shipping's on. And then on the last day, I send it twice. In the morning, free shipping, in the evening, free shipping. And in one 24-hour period of time, I had, on the last day of free shipping, 1,000 PV came in.
Wow. Hey, is this available in Canada, Pamela? The free shipping thing? I think so, right? I mean, I better figure that out because you just gave me a tip.
And I'm willing to create a campaign like that Shaklee has given me the graphic. I can use the snipping tool, snip the free shipping, picture and put it up in the YFP campaigns. And then of course, when you upload it up there, it's always up there. So if it's a generic one, I can just use the same one each time. But having this individualized content, Cheryl shaking her head, it's like, yeah, that's magic.
Yeah,
magic. And it's like where they get all these ideas from. I just love it.
They're elves.
They're elves. That's how they do
it. Magic.
They're magic.
And I have 50 business leaders in 6 levels, and I have probably 200 business leaders below the 6th level that I'll never know about, and I'm fine with that. It's a good foundation. And they don't know that I don't know all this stuff because, when we do our presentations, one time Shaklee had me train at conference and I had to find my PowerPoint and I didn't know how to open it up. I had never done that. This is 18 years ago when we first came here. And afterwards, another leader came up to me and said, Cheryl, that was really great how you acted like you didn't know how to do PowerPoint. I said, I wasn't acting. And she couldn't believe it. Now I could build the PowerPoint, but I didn't know all the interactions of the computer. So this has been a learning curve for me. I have grandchildren who can take care of it for me now. But when you have 50 business leaders in 6 levels, it's important that you can disseminate information to them. And a lot of them don't read their emails from Shaklee, but they'll read it from me. You. And when it comes from YFP, it looks like it's coming directly from me. And so I always have a bump. When your newsletter goes out, there's always a bump in volume, not just for me, but because I have my business leaders on it too, most of them on the distribution. And so I go, oh, the newsletter went out last night. Shoot, I forgot to update it, But it always looks good and sounds good anyway. So I appreciate you guys. And I think it comes from Jody being a Shaklee kid. So growing up in it, you know what you're doing. You know the power of the products. You know the power about have you guys ever seen another company where there's 4th and 5th generations getting paid and what their ancestors did?
Yeah, right.
It's really remarkable.
I've been in the industry almost 44 years and I have never seen that. I was with 2 other companies and nobody wanted to do what their mom and dad did, let alone grandpa and grandma. And so Shaklee has power that no other company has. And I love that you guys are helping us utilize that power by providing these kind of tools. Because if there's a war going on and you don't have the right weapons, you're not going to win the war. And this helped a lot. When COVID hit, we hit back because of this. And we can teach our people, don't be afraid. It's fear or faith. Pick one. And sometimes I might be a little harsh with people, but they know that if they think about it, that's true. It's a choice. And you guys help people make better choices. So thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that.
That was a great.
Well, and you're right. I mean, I'm the product of the product. After that webinar, it was for Heart Health last night. Or if you had someone who got on there, because that's one thing to remember as a leader. It's not as much about you attending as it is about you getting other people to attend, right?
Right.
So that's where the real power is. And I want to salute all you leaders out there. I appreciate that. But remember when they talked about garlic? And I upped my garlic yesterday. I took 6 today. Before I was like, I just want my 1 garlic. That's it. So anyways, I just wanted to throw some statistics out at you. Nancy, as you saw, had 32% average open rates on her last 6 mailings on a list size of 400 plus subscribers.
Wow.
So by the way, industry average is about 11 something percent. I've seen between 11 and 20% is sort of like different averages in the industry, like email marketing in general. So 30% is really good. Surely she rewrites some of the subject lines. So she's even better than me at writing subject lines. So and she nails some of them. Some of her people are getting 50% open rates. That's amazing. Wow. like half your group being able to, could you imagine, if you think of 400 people, that's like a pretty big room filled. And Nancy gets to at one time, get it. Maybe they don't all open it, but like she says, they see her name is there. And if they don't open it today, they might open it in 2 weeks from now, but she just keeps showing up. That's frequency and what we call omnipresence. So she's just always there, right? And then, of course, Cheryl, we want to help you boost your a little bit. You're at 22.9% on 500 plus subs. So you have more subscribers. So, of course, your percentages typically go a little lower sometimes the more subscribers you have. But we would definitely want to work with Cheryl a little bit to see if we could boost her up to the 30%. And one of the things that
update, a lot of those emails are not valid. If you look at the
and maybe that's so that may be part of it.
Example or no email, and I have to clean that up. I just haven't gotten to it.
So you know what? We better maybe Sam make a note, and we'll get the VA team to do that for you. You don't want to do stuff like that. Let's get the VA. Pay you pay an hour of VA service and let them go through. That's the stuff you don't want to do. So
I'll send them a bigger list then, and then they can work on that and put.
Any of that sample stuff. Yeah, let's just clean that up.
Because I do like Nancy. I do the balance. I keep sponsoring new people because if I don't, how can I expect my people to? Even though I've been doing it for years and I already have a massive organization, most of the people I'm sponsoring are people who are watching how the products work for me. Like when I survived cancer, that was really good for the business. But when we got our collagen, that was good for me. That made a big difference, and people could see that I look different, and it's so easy. I'm a product of the product. We call MindWorks MoneyWorks. And we did a video. I said, Marty shakes his moneymaker 4 minutes in, and he picked up a bottle of MindWorks and shook it, because the people on MindWorks, in our experience, make more money because they make better choices.
I got to say, you're looking pretty good for 70 something. So I will say that you're looking pretty amazing.
Good to be in your 70s.
I just wanted to circle back real quick
Sam.
before we move on to the next question. We were talking about like a 32 and a 22% open list. That's like the equivalent of having 100 conversations in a day. So that is nothing to bat an eye about. That is absolutely remarkable. And like Jody pointed out, it's definitely above the industry standard. So the email list is really our bread and butter, and to have that type of open rate is fantastic. I don't think I could have 100 conversations in a day fully caffeinated. So that's really cool. I did want to ask, how are you getting people onto your wellness list? You have these fantastic open rates. What are you doing to get people to join and to lean into hearing from you on a weekly basis?
For me, I have a team page, and I always put your newsletter up on the team page, besides when it goes out. But I use it for people along with the Shaklee Share app and Shaklee Connect. And I love being able to send them something one time, and then like you track them. And I can tell if they've opened it, and that's a lot easier to follow up with people when, oh, hey, I saw you didn't have time to do that. I get it. I don't have time either. And they believe me because it's true. So for me, the follow-up is kind of I'm on your team too. Let's check this out, because it has made a massive difference for me. And there's no loss. I mean, especially right now, people that don't want to try the skincare at 20% off, and they're guaranteed to look younger, and they can get their money back if they don't. It's a no-brainer. So I do, like I said, I kind of have a velvet sledgehammer. I'm not the best softening the blow. But again, I'm an old lady. I can do what I want.
It buys you some.
I'm going to join you here in just a couple of months, hitting my 70th birthday. So.
All right, party at our house.
I'm amazed. Nancy, you shared a story in the practice session earlier. If we could we just share that? How your hubby was out going for a walk, he knew what to do, and help people with that process of how you went from like total, stranger, if we could say that, to a customer.
Sure. Cheryl, I'm not as blessed as you that has a wonderful husband that knows Shaklee inside and out, but he knows enough, because I make him come to events, what to say. And we're new in his agri community that we live in. And so a neighbor next door was walking her dog and bumped into my husband walking our dogs. And she, the word gets around what you do and what you know. And so she just started telling my husband, like her whole husband's health history and how they've gone all over the place trying to figure out what's wrong with him. And my husband, I'm just so proud of him. He at least knew to say, I'm pretty sure Nancy can help with that.
Wow.
And within, so I then, reached out to her and by text and just said, hey, Ken shared with me what's going on. Feel free. I'd be happy to chat more. And then the miracle of Amazon putting the package on the wrong porch.
Oh,
Okay.
Amazon put her package on my porch. We live next door to each other. And so Sunday, I went and rang the doorbell, nobody home, put it on the porch, texted her, sorry, don't know when this landed on the porch, but here it is. I left it on your porch, and I immediately got a text back that said, are you available to get together now?
wow.
And of course, it's Sunday. I don't really have my best outfit on. My office is a little disheveled, and I had to very quickly scramble to get myself looking appropriate. And they came right over. They sat down, had a great conversation with them.
Mhm.
And I don't ever pressure anyone. I said, just take your time, decide what would be best for you. And within an hour, I got a text back. I'm ready. Can I come over now and get started? And so that all happened, within 3 days.
That's great.
So if
I tell
don't
people
have a husband that's active, make sure he at least knows what to say.
Well, I tell people all the time, Marty was my first no. So Marty wasn't always excited about Shaklee. In fact, he was offered a trip to San Francisco to meet Roger Barnett 19 years ago. And I'm on the phone with the gal, and I said, well, sure, he'd love to go. I said, well, let me check. And so I called him. He said, I'm not interested. I said, it's a free trip to San Francisco. I was a travel agent 25 years. We will do anything for a free trip. And
Yeah.
so then I had to go back to, I think it was Jim Sharon, and I said, I'm sorry, Marty has a conflict. I didn't tell him it was between his ears, but he said, well, would you like to go? And I'm like, yeah. So they sent the tickets, but they were in Marty's name. And I called, and because I knew they could change them, they were Coach. And I said, wait a minute, I think he's supposed to go. I already love Shaklee. My mom had a Shaklee meeting 40 or 50 years ago. My brother took it in high school, and he's 69, I think, this month. And I said, let me check with Marty. So then I called Marty and I said, the tickets came and they're in your name, and you know how the airlines are. And Marty says, oh my, okay, I'll go. And the next day he was on a plane and he met Roger Barnett. And Marty had never, and Roger and Marty are the same age. I robbed the cradle. But Marty had never met a guy at the head of a home-based business with Roger's pedigree, with his heart, his brains, his vision for the future. Roger does not see where we are this year. He sees where we are 20 years from now.
Yeah.
And the things he's setting up for us are positioning us to have better results. So Marty was in right away when he met Roger. So, but yeah, he said no first time.
Yeah, that was the one.
I'm super glad you mentioned that about Roger. I just want to inject this for a moment, if I could. When we created the videos in your tour, you may notice that when I rebuilt the tour about a year and a half ago, that I really wanted to put the emphasis on Roger, that this is the man you're connecting with. Because let's face it, I mean, the direction of a company and the success of the company is going to be based largely on the leader, right? If you got a crummy leader, you're going to struggle. So I felt people needed to understand this man. And so maybe we should ask, who here has seen the videos in your Explore Opportunity tour and in module 1? All of that is based around Roger, his family, how I really wanted people to connect to that. So if you haven't seen that, I'm just going to maybe share screen for a minute, because some people might even wonder, like, what is he talking about? Just to give you kind of a heads up, here's how easy it is for someone like Nancy to influence with education. Is she just can tell someone to go to her website, nancypath.com. So it's easy to remember. She can just tell them to click here that says Explore Opportunity. I'm going to click here on Explore Opportunity. And this looks great on a smartphone too, right? So you can be at a tennis court and say, check out my website. And they're looking at it like while they're sitting beside you. They click here to watch videos. Now, these challenges start to build them up for that. Then when we actually, I'll just show you here. So this is when they create a free account. They put in all their first name and whatever. When they fill in their name and email, that's what adds them to your email marketing system. In this case here, I've already got an account, so I'll just log in. So I'll go in through my own, my back office. Here we are. So here in module 1 that people can cruise through, that's where we really start to help them understand who Roger is and meet our team. So we talk about the leadership. And I did a lot of research going through transcripts and different interviews from Roger. And of course, talking to people that work with Roger, like Angel Torres, who worked quite closely with him and Master Angel Torres. And it's a very important set of videos to watch, because if you haven't, you may be missing on some of the excitement that, we all need to recharge ourselves, right? To keep remembering, why are we doing this? Is this company as good as we thought it was 5 years ago, et cetera? So hopefully you'll do that. And maybe we could just ask you, starting with you, Nancy, what has been your experience with the tours as a tool for helping you find and enroll people?
I love doing the tours, and I believe Chase was the one that showed me, one of your elves showed me to have the person you're doing the tour with do the driving. So have them share their screen, which is what I do, as long as they're computer savvy enough to know how to click on the green button at the bottom. Because then it puts, I tell them it's nancyspath.com. They see how easy it is, and then they do the driving. Click here, click there. And I introduce them to, if you're interested at the top, there's, explore opportunity, explore wellness. I let them choose what they would like to click on. And the last person that I took on a tour, there was no break in between videos. As soon as one video stopped, they clicked on the next one right away, and the next one right away, and the next one right away. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. And she signed up as an ambassador. She's like, this is fantastic. Anybody could do this.
And how about you, Cheryl? Have you had an experience with the tour, good, bad, or otherwise?
This is the first time I saw that page.
Wow, there you go. See, you could be a master and not even know half the website.
You can bet I'm going to dig into it, though.
I love it. Okay, that's cool. One of the questions that I would have would be maybe with regards to objections. Maybe, Sam, you could ask both, starting with Cheryl, that with regards to getting people on the email list. People said like, oh, I don't want your emails, they're spammy, or you might spam me. Maybe you could talk about that.
Sure. So I was just kind of curious how you actually ask people to join your list. Is there like a phrase that you put out, or a specific way that you ask people to join?
Well, usually it will come up in a conversation when I'm seeing people, if I haven't seen them for a while, and I just tell them, we got into health and wellness a few years ago. I thought I knew how to be healthy and have strength mentally, physically, financially. And I've got a little newsletter. If they want, I can add them to my newsletter, and I do it very unobtrusively, and usually they want that. I don't think I've ever had anybody tell me no when I ask them that. But I've had a lot of people tell me no about Shaklee. In fact, it's usually no, yes. And I go, wait, what? And, I'm surprised when they say yes, because so many people say no. And I learned a long time ago not to worry about that. I read a book called Rhinoceros Success. And I just gave it to my daughter when she was up from Florida the other day. She had never read it, but she knew I had it and that I had read it several times. And it's about not taking things personally. They're not saying no to you if they don't want to be on your newsletter or they don't want to join your team. Usually it's, not yet. And some people waited 20 years to join our team. But you know what? It's their loss, because the people who trusted us and are working on having better health and have some income coming in every month, we're in a lot better position. And I know people in other network marketing companies where they try to make more money on the field as far as local events and things like that. And I love that Shaklee, you guys offer a free position to get started where they can, with YFP, where they can, go in and they can familiarize yourself. It's nobody's fault but mine that I haven't gone through that whole center. If somebody has arthritis, I can talk about having had that since my 30s, and that I take our joint health now and our osteomatrix, and we've got a great newsletter that has lots of information, because I know once they get the newsletter, they're not going to stop with that. A lot of my people have gotten on your videos because of the newsletter. And in the newsletter, it talks about the videos coming up and the trainings and the education. And again, they all think I'm writing it. So thank you.
Yeah. That's great. It sounds like a lot of your success is coming with connecting with these people and relating to them about why they would find benefit. It's almost as if they feel like more of a connection with you, as opposed to not necessarily hearing from Shaklee. They want to hear from you, not Shaklee. So it's cool that you're having success with that. I'm glad you shared it that way.
You guys are a big part of it. I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't found you, because I was really floundering trying to get a newsletter, because I knew people needed the education. And I knew I could go out and I could train all day on it. We're in Minneapolis. I have got tons of masters here that Marty and I trained under. So I know what it is they need, but I know that it's not going to help them for me to have all the answers. They need to find their own answers, or they'll never believe that they can build a business.
Let's ask Nancy with regards mobilizing her team, because I think Nancy's been, for me, one of the top leaders in YFP who's mobilized her team, who's made YFP like part of the big picture, not just this little thing off to the side she kind of plays around with and almost hides. Where a lot of people do that, they sort of treat YFP like a barnacle, like it's this other thing that they're also using, but they don't realize that it's about the real success is about getting your whole team using it, right? Maybe Nancy, you could share a bit about that.
Well, I think it really has a lot to do with being the leader and teaching them that I'm a leader, but so are you. And it's duplication. And I mean, they've, the things do impress people. Not that I go around saying, I just built a beautiful $1 million eco green geothermal solar panel house. They can see that. I drive my dream car. I've wanted a Corvette since I was 10 years old. And that's what I drive. And in the words of Joe Torres, just be that authentic person that people are curious. And any opportunity I have to share my story, my 1-minute story. I used to be a computer scientist. I worked 24/7. And once I had 2 boys in 15 months, it was a disaster. I couldn't lose weight. I was sick all the time. I was exhausted. And so I thought, well, maybe I need to eat better. And I did, and that helped a little bit. But then I went to the gym. And I met this wonderful person there that used really high quality supplements. And she invited me to give it a try. And I couldn't believe how much better I felt. I lost the 50 pounds for good. I had energy. I slept well. I felt great. And I could not stop sharing my story. And I really only knew 3 people at the time I met her. I had just moved to Cincinnati a short time before that. And so I tell people, I couldn't believe that as I shared my story with people, I started earning bonuses. I was like, this is great. This is fantastic. I can pay for my own products. And then one day my husband came home and said, you know what? I just hate my job and I'm going to get outsourced and I'm just not going to like it. And not only did he get outsourced, he was given a 30-day notice that his job was over.
Wow.
As a software engineer, they just get burnt out. And he was like 50. And this little business that he thought I had, because he doesn't ever do the taxes, he doesn't ever know how much income I earned. Just said, do you think maybe we could live on just your income? And I said, I certainly can. And so he's never turned and looked back. And we were still able to build this beautiful home. We've been in it 3 years and we've had a nonstop project building, home theaters and Murphy beds, and patios and fencing and a slicked out garage so the Corvette looks good. And I mean, just the money is there. And so I share with people, if you're at all interested, it only takes 15 minutes. because that's how long it takes to go through the opportunity presentation on YFP. And if not, maybe you'd like to be added to my newsletter.
Yep.
It's up to you. No worries. And then the hardest thing for Shaklee people to do is then just shut up and let them answer. And many people will say, hey, I'd like to have some energy. Yeah, maybe I'd like to earn some income, or I just want your newsletter. And all three answers are great.
Yeah.
That's right.
And do you get much pushback from new builders when you're encouraging them to use YFP as well?
No, because that's how they learned what Shaklee is.
Right.
This is how you learn what Shaklee is. And I keep repeating to them, this is a very simple process that anyone can do. All the words are right there. Click and listen. Click and listen. That's all you have to do. You don't have to be a nutritionist, a doctor, a biochemist, whatever. And then just send them off to Meology. So.
Yes, that's certainly one of the things that we're looking at doing. I'll just circle because I realize I can't believe the time's gone by this quickly. I'm loving your stories and what you're sharing. I wanted just to give people a little quick kind of a nutshell of so we say influence with education. Well, one of the tips that I wanted to give right off the bat. So I've been reading a book that I want to encourage you guys to consider getting if you haven't. And it's called Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion by Robert, am I getting this right? Cialdini. And it talks about sort of 7 core principles of getting people to say yes. It's really what it's all about. And because we are like compliance professionals, as he calls it, where our job is to get people to comply, which is yes, to do something we're asking them to do, which is to either say yes to download something, yes to join an event, right? Yes to take a look at something, or yes to join your team or buy. So that's one thing that I will recommend, because I was referencing that when I was creating this event, was trying to get some clarity on that. So let's kind of get down to the brass tacks for a moment, if I could. So we talked about the hub site, which basically is the nerve center. So it connects your prospects to all your assets. So any of your ebooks that we provide for you, or if you've gone like Nancy has, she's even got her own little website. Same with people like Debbie Miller, who's an integrative nutritional specialist. So you can add, like tag on another kind of website if you needed to, but you don't need to for most folks. And so that connects people to things like their lead capture pages that we build for you, and then the ebooks that come with that, as well as webinar registration. So for example, when you had someone at the Heart Health webcast, they can actually register right through RegPage or yours if you guys have your own hub site, so that you get the name, the contact information, you can stay in touch with them. So I'm going to share a screen and kind of walk you guys through a little bit of what are the pieces of what are the educational components here. So right off the bat, these are some of the things that we offer to help you guys. So we offer PowerPoint presentations that are pre-made. You can just download them and start presenting. So for your own meetings, your pop-ups, your Zooms, things like that, you can see we've got business-focused presentations, and then we have wellness presentations, things like healthy nutrition and healthy body and so on. So that's kind of one area. But it does start with, for us, it's really about the tours coming out of your hub site. But the big one really, if I'm going to go over to here, is in the Wellness Center. And I'll just jump right over here to the Discover section. And that is this. So for example, I was looking at, well, what kind of, let's say, this being Heart Month, what kind of topics maybe is in the Wellness Center right now that could help you guys to promote. So there's things like the product spotlight on CoQ Heart with Q-Trol, the 3 phases of heart health, the little known lab test that measures heart health. This is a really good one about omega-3 and how they actually discovered that people who took I can't remember what it was, 8 a day or something like that, have an 80% reduction. Don't quote me on that. You'll want to read the article, but it's a dramatic reduction on heart attacks, I believe, based on omega-3. And it's a study that was done in that. So there's some other articles, the role of soy on heart health and on and on. So that allows you guys to be able to share that in your personal profiles, or probably I should say better in your group. Those are all connected to the emails. So really, from our perspective, what we provide you guys education. So PowerPoints that you can do, live events that we produce for you that you can share and invite people to, as well as lead capture, the different ebooks like the 7 Big Secrets to Losing Weight or the Vitamin Checklist. And all of that, though, ties into the one thing, which is your contact manager in your email marketing system, so that we can continually message your people and keep them updated. And I just wanted to share a screenshot. I had a couple of them on what is coming new in 7.0. And that is here. I'm waiting to recreate my account as we're going through the beta tests for 7.0. But you can see this is the new look of 7.0, what your wellness center is going to look like in the homepage. And if somebody came along and then they clicked on that article, for example, then they will see. So I'm just showing you mock-ups because they have the server turned off at the moment, which would then land you on the page, which is going to allow them to watch that video, but it also lets them know that it's yours. And then there's also related content that will be around that. That is something we do not have in the current version. But I feel one of the biggest drivers of what we have coming up on this new on the new system is going to be the Learn and Earn program, the advanced, the revised version of the Learn and Earn program. Right now, the way it is they have to watch 17 pieces of content, 17 videos basically, and then you'll give them whatever you said you'd give them. So some people it's $50, some people it's something else. But what I want to do is change this, or what we wanted to do is change this so that your Learn and Earn is point-based. You don't have to turn it on. Everybody just gets in and automatically starts earning points as soon as they watch a video. So if they watch a video, they're going to get points. If they attend a live event, if they open your email, if they engage with you in any way. In the beginning, it'll be sort of limited in what those engagement points will be, but we'll be able to expand that over time, that they are earning points, and then we're giving them little badges, and that's called gamification. So that's super popular in education. If you go and study it, I did a lot of research into the value of that and how it dramatically increases engagement in classes and completion. So people are more willing to actually watch and do things when they're gamified, when they're incentivized that way. And then what we're allowing you to do is to create little small challenges. So you can say that from this date to this date, if you gain X amount of additional points, I'll give you XYZ. And it's totally up to you. So if you want to give them little handmade bracelets you make, if that's your thing, then that's your thing. Or if it's like a bottle of Basic H, then that can be your thing. Or if it's whatever, it's totally up to you. So we felt that is going to encourage more compliance, right? Where more people are going to say, yeah, I want to watch that. Well, we know, I mean, let's face it. Would you guys agree, Nancy and Cheryl, that if you can get people to watch like 5 videos about the Shaklee difference, that kind of dramatically increases their consumption? Would you say with that, Nancy?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
It's all about education.
Yep.
Yeah.
And widening the category. We don't want them to come in and they buy like the weight loss and then they don't know anything about skincare, right? So we want to widen those categories. And that's also what the Learn and Earn is about. And the reason I decided as well to do it sort of incentivized with a point program where it doesn't matter what they watch. So if they want to just be totally sports nutrition nuts and watch all my sports nutrition videos to gain points and win the challenge, so be it, as opposed to forcing them to watch certain things. Now, we may still have a class style environment, which will force them to go through very specific modules and they can't just choose what they want. But that's the first version of the Learn and Earn. So I wanted to kind of give you guys all a heads up about that. Cheryl, did you want to add to that or say something?
I just wanted to ask when that'll be available with your upgrade on the Learn and Earn.
Yeah. So we were hoping we'd have a beta ready for you guys to test at the end of January, but I went through it and there's still some things that I felt I needed to clean up and smooth out. So we are very close. To be honest, it's a little hard to tell because we only know based on, okay, we run into this problem. How long will that take to fix that one problem? Yeah. So yeah, Nancy's been there. So I can't honestly give you a date, but I could tell you where we are now in that all principal coding has been done. The system is really there in 98% complete, but it's really the functionality now that as we're pushing through and kicking the tires, it's like, oh, I didn't recognize, why is it doing that basically? So we need to kind of work through those kinks. And I can't honestly say how long that's going to be. So I would say that the ship is in sea trials right now.
That's okay, because I run contests with my group every month.
Oh,
They all compete for different things. And in March, I usually do something that's like sports related because of the big Final Four basketball in the States. But I'll do something with YFP that I'll have them, whoever watches the most links, things like that. But then they also have to answer.
Oh, I love that.
When I do things like that, they have to tell me, like if they had to read books or whatever, what their favorite part was. It's not that I don't trust them, but I just want to make sure they are listening. And not like I do a lot of multitasking when I'm on. I was on a call with Jeff Hill the other day, and he asked me about the Monday mission call, and I said, "Yeah, it was great." And he goes, well, "What'd you like best about it?" He's pulling a Cheryl. I said, "You wanted us to be focused, and I did order that book, The One Thing," and so he knew I really did watch it. But I told him I multitask. That's why you never see me in the Zoom room. On the Monday missions, I'm always on the Facebook page.
I will also.
I'm going to run a contest with YFP.
I love that. That's a smart idea. Incentivizing and challenging people to consume content.
Yeah.
Good for you. This is the upgraded version. This is what 7.0 version of the hub site's going to look like. So remember in the beginning, we were because we had the 2 buttons, and it was all sort of like, well, which button do I press? Should I take them to the business side, or should I take them to the wellness side? What I've decided to do is make the top button be all about your story, so that everything is about driving them to your story. And this is why, is that when they go to your story, we're going to allow you guys, you can't see it on this mock-up, but we're going to allow you guys to embed a YouTube video here, which will be you being like, "Hey, welcome to my page. So great to see you. Thanks for being here." And then, of course, you can go in and edit your YouTube video anytime you want. But that, again, creates more it's just a more personal feel. And then you'll notice everything on the website is about asking them to take one of these 2 options, either explore the opportunity or explore wellness. So it's really all about take my tour, take my tour, take my tour. Even on the homepage, if I go back here, you can see when I scroll down, this, by the way, just allows them to choose the different categories in the Wellness Center if they want to look. But it's, again, all about exploring. The other neat thing about the 7.0 version of the hub site is you guys are going to be able to rearrange these sections. So if you want your ebooks up higher or lower or whatever, you guys can change that. If you want certain ebooks to show and other books not to show, you'll be able to change that, I believe. As well as it'll be a little easier to customize and things like that. So that's really what's coming. But this is what's sort of special, is you'll notice here when we go to free resources, you have not had that up until now. We're now going to create, so it's going to be the resource center, which is really comes in 2 pieces. You've got the wellness side of the resource center and the business side of the business center. So when we resume doing our webcasts on like the work at home webcasts, we needed a place to store that you guys could use to promote your business. And that is where that is going to be, is in the business center. So right now, actually, the tour you guide them through, the classrooms, that is the business center. So you're going to bring them into the business center. But the neat thing about it is we're using what's called a bridge menu. It's this little easy menu. They can click one button and it'll take them to the wellness center, so that your new business prospects can then start seeing, well, what's this product about, right? And they can watch all the videos they want and also start being on that learn and earn. So those, I just wanted to give you guys a bit of a sneak peek into what we're doing and why we're doing it. Because I'm 100% in full belief on the power of education, because my family, our business grew dramatically in the 80s when we bought a photocopier. It was all about that photocopier, right? And it doesn't matter how ugly it was, but my parents photocopied everything, and everybody who came to that meeting, they got photocopies, man. And well, what's the new photocopier now? It's the website. So I've always been striving to, how can I sort of replicate what always worked for mom and dad in a digital way, but still keeps the essence. It's not some weird fandangly hide behind my computer stuff. None of that. It's how can I still do what's always worked, but now amplify that with digital tools. And that's really been our mission. So release date, again, was the end of January, but we've already passed that. So we're really now, we're in a early beta phase. I'd like to see it within a month, but I mean, what I want and what's going to actually happen are very different things. So I will tell you this, though, the more support we get from you guys, then I have the resources to hire more developers. Ultimately, as you know, Nancy, it comes down to code, doesn't it? How fast can those little fingers punch out the code that we need to do these sorts of things. And it's an incredibly complex project. It's a very large website, so it does take them time. So I would love to see us in full production before the summer. But I can't give you any hard deadlines as much as I was hoping to. So, but what I am going to do is I'm going to keep giving you guys updates in the next coming months, just to kind of keep letting you know, here's where we are, here's what we've done, so you can travel along. With that said, 5.0 still works beautifully. It's still slow, I realize, but it's still, the content is really what matters. And that's all there. That's not changing. So keep sharing that content, sell what's available today. That's something I learned long ago in my Foot Locker shoe store business. Is maybe you don't have the new Nike Jordans yet, but I still got my old Jordans, sell them. That's what you got for now. So for now you got 5.0, and that's what you need to do. So with that said, I just wanted to remind you guys, if you're interested, that we do have a promo that's on. It's called Influence with Education. You just go to yourfreedomproject.com. At the top, you'll see a little thing that says Influence with Education sale, and it'll help your builders or you start using some of these tools at a discount if you want.
And
I'm going to move right into.
To mention that you don't just set it up, you actually show us how to use it.
Well, thank you for reminding me of that. Yes. Yeah. So just here you go. Good luck to you.
It's overwhelming for people that are watching that are like, okay, this is great, but how do I use this? The elves take care of stepping you through and showing you how to use it.
Yes. That is definitely.
Well, you said something earlier, Nancy, and actually our leader, Pamela, says the same thing, right? You just got to point them to it. Like, you know, that's your job. Point them to it.
You have to be curious.
Yeah. Guide them through it. Teach them to do it. That's the term.
Right.
So with that said, let's just give a big thanks, everyone, to our speakers, Master Cheryl Turner, top leader Nancy Fickus, and I mean, wow, you guys, you know, we can't thank you enough for giving us your time. And to all of you who have taken out some time of your night to join, hopefully you've had some value from this. And we'd love to see you in the next group, whatever way you want to participate with us. We appreciate you so very much. So thanks, everyone. And again, thanks, Nancy and Cheryl. You have an amazing night. Thanks again, Coach Sam. Take care, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye for now.
Good night.
Bye.